As you know, my name is Kainton, and in this lesson I'm going to teach you how to build this quiz application you are seeing on your screen. So it's a quiz application that is really very easy, built in React, and is based on HTML, CSS, JavaScript, basic things. You actually don't need anything much to be able to follow on this tutorial. You only need basic knowledge of HTML, basic knowledge of CSS, basic knowledge of JavaScript, but if you don't know these things, just follow along. It's going to be step by step, and it's going to really be very easy, very interesting, and very fun. So I've made it very easy, and we have the step by step right here on the website, as well as all the source code you need. So this is how the quiz goes. We have 5 questions right here, so you can select an answer, it highlights it, and you go to the next question. What is the capital of India? For you can see there's some kind of error because I did not put in the right answer there. So Sydney, let's go here, and so you can see that I scored 2 points out of 5. You can see, so and it gives me all the correct answers right here. Okay, so let's go ahead to do this. It's gonna be step by step, so you just follow along, and now you can visit my website so that you can see the steps to follow to build this. And this steps is the step I'm going to follow right now to build this quiz. What do you need? You need, now this is the source code, but let's build this quiz right from bottom up. So let's not copy the source code. Let's just build it right from the beginning. What you need for now, you need to have an IDE. For me, I'm using VS Code. You also need Node.js. How to set up these things, I already have talked about it, so this is not a section for this. And also, if you don't have VS Code, you can use any other editor, maybe Sublime, maybe WebStorm, maybe Notepad++, but I recommend using VS Code because it's very convenient to use. So let's go ahead to get started right now. Again, if you are joining me for the first time, please subscribe to my channel. You can find the subscribe button below this video, red button, subscribe, activate notifications so that you don't miss any update from me, because this is what I do, and especially this time we are under lockdown, it's a very good time for you to learn something new. So I recommend just follow the lessons. If you have challenges, please don't fail to let me know. So let's go ahead to get started right now. So let's get started right now. I've opened the page, and I also restore the VS Code editor to be side by side with my web page. In this step-by-step tutorial, I will teach you how to create a quiz app in React.js. It will be simple. Okay, I've said this. Now we have the files in it. We have index.js, we have quizdata.js, contains list of questions, we have quiz.js, and we have styles.css. So it's a basic application made up of only 4 files. So the first thing you want to do is to go to terminal and choose new terminal. Choose new terminal, React projects here. So you can see it. You can see now the terminal window opens up right here. I can kind of increase the fonts if I can. Let me see if I can increase the fonts. Okay, yeah, I think it's better now. So to create a React application inside this folder, I'm going to simply say npx create React app. So npx is a command. Is a module that helps you create a React app. It creates all the necessary files and configuration and all the additional modules are downloaded and added to the folder. So I'm going to say create React app. Let's name it quiz demo. That's the name of this app. So this is how you specify the name of the app. So I'm going to simply hit enter on the keyboard, and it's going to take a few minutes, or sorry, a few seconds to complete. So let's wait for a while and then let's continue. Right, so you can see that the application has been created. So if I open to React projects, I'm going to just open the application that was just created now, this quiz demo. So this is it. So you can see a whole lot of things inside. Before I tell you what is inside, I'm going to just start the application. So let's just browse to see what is inside, how the application runs, so that you can appreciate what is actually happening. So I'm going to navigate inside this folder. So cd and cd quiz demo, enter, and I'm going to say npm start. Okay, so now it's going to start this application and it's going to run on port 3000, and then we actually see that we have a brand new application that has been created for us, just like that. So alright, so you can see this is the application. So it's a React application and there's nothing much inside. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to move it away and let's just continue. So this is where we are, and now we can delete unnecessary files. And the unnecessary files, now in a React application you have different folders and files. Let's focus on the src folder. Src contains your source, it contains your source files, the CSS, the JS, and a few other files. Now we are going to delete a number of them. I'm going to delete these. Now, while I delete them, I want to show you what is going to happen at this point. So I'm going to kind of delete. Let me start with deleting this too. Yes, move to recycle bin. You can see automatically the development server refreshes and everything is gone, but no problem. We are going to set up our own files. So let's also delete these, delete the logo, delete index.css, delete these as well. So the only thing we need here is the index.js. Now if I open the index.js, you can see a whole lot of things, and that is fine. So this index.js simply mounts the app component on the root DOM node. So this is a mouthful, but meanwhile let's delete a little more from here. Let me just take out these as well. Okay, so what is happening here is okay, let me just kind of make it a little bit clearer. I'm going to also delete the index.js, so let's just delete it as well. So let's start from the scratch. Now, so everything is gone. So we only have the src folder is right now is very much empty. So we are going to create our first CSS, our first JavaScript file, and that is called a component. We are going to talk about this as we go. All right. So to create a component, I'm going to simply type. I'm going to simply create a new file. I'm going to call it index.js. All right. So you now have to create a functional component, and the name is going to be. Sorry, let me just make room here, or just type rfce. Now you have this snippet for you. Okay, so how to be able to get this, you can look in the description box. I explained how to get this. You need to install the snippet extension for VS Code. So maybe I can just show you. So if I go to, I can remember if I so let's see. So, okay, this extension. So if I go to snippets, okay, so you can see this is a snippet. They say EX7 React Redux GraphQL React Native snippet. So there is the name of the snippet. So get this snippet installed. So you'll be able to use RFCE, the shorthand, and it is able to get this for you. All right. So the next thing I want to do is to let me just shift this a bit. We also need to import React DOM from React DOM. So what this means is we are importing a library that will help us display this, whatever is here, in a HTML page. Now if I go back to the files, the HTML page that is managing our application is called index.html and is available in the public folder. You can see this index.html here.
So we are trying to use this module to be able to help us be able to display whatever we have here in our component on this index page. Alright, so I'm going to, at the end, I'm going to say, this is something you need to do. So normally when you create a React project, all these things, I already deleted them. So you could have actually left them, but it's better you know how to do them yourself. So let's put this away a bit. Let me shift this to make room. React DOM root element, equal to document dot get element by ID, which you already know, and I'm going to get root. So sorry, it's going to be const. Okay, so if you go to the public folder, you go to index.html. So where we want to put this is somewhere in the body of the index.html. Everything we are going to be writing is going to be coming inside the body inside the body/body tag, which is somewhere here. So that is why I'm trying to get the root DOM element from the index.html file. So, and I'm going to put or mount this component. So what I call component is this JavaScript file we are working on now. This is called a React component. So I'm going to say React DOM dot render. So I'm going to render this component as, let me just change this to app, and I'm also exporting it as export default app. Okay, so this you should do. So normally when you create it for the first time, it has a named export, but now I'm changing it to a default export. Now I'm changing it to named export, named and default. So this can be confusing, but don't worry about it. It's just these are things you'll get to know as you go. So I want app/app to be rendered in this place, and I'm going to render it on root element at this point. So this app/app refers to whatever is being returned by this function. This is what we call apps. Is the app component rendered in the root element, which is this. All right, this is fine. So at this point, I'm going to refresh my page. I'm going to save everything, and we are going to see how it will update in our development server. So I'm going to say welcome to React. So at this point, if I save all, take a look at this place. It's going to refresh, and it now displays welcome to React. So we are starting right from the scratch at this point. So what we want to do now is to create. Maybe I can start by creating let's see. So inside the component folder, create two files, quiz.js and quizdata.js. So let's go to the src folder. So I'm going to create new file, quizdata.js. So this is going to be list of questions and answers. So at this point, I'm simply going to copy it and paste. I'm going to copy it and just paste it right here. So this is a quiz. So you have, quiz data is simply like an array of questions and answers. We have the ID, we have the question, we have the options, and we have the correct answer. Here. So maybe I'm going to just use this opportunity to correct this. So I'm going to just copy this New Delhi. Let me copy it and replace. I'm going to just maybe replace this. All right. So we have the correct answer there as well. So the next thing we want to do is to create the style sheet. Okay. So in this case, we have a number of styles. In this case, I will also not be talking so much about the style sheet because you already know about CSS. So it is a style that applies to the element on the HTML page. So there is the app, more like the body. This is selected when the user selects an option, and this is the options that is the options that can be selected, and so on. So let's create the style sheets. So I'm going to just come to src as well and say new file, and I'm going to call it styles.css. Alright, so styles.css, and I'm going to simply copy this and paste it right there in styles.css. I'm going to save everything, save all. Alright, so nothing changes for now, so let's proceed. So finally, we want to take some time to build up the quiz.js component. So I'm going to create another component. It's going to be quiz.js. So now this component is what will actually contain all the logic for the quiz. This component is going to be a class component, because in React we have two types of components, the class component and the functional component. So to create a class component, you use the snippet RCE, and it creates a class component for you. Now we want to import the style sheet. We also want to import the quiz data into this place. So I mean, just import them. Import quiz data from /quiz data, and I also have to import styles, the style. So import styles.css. Alright, so this is what we have at this point. I'm gonna just save everything. Now we are now going to discuss exactly how this quiz is going to be built. Okay, so the first thing you want to know is that we want to take note of how it works. Now the render function returns what is displayed in the HTML page. So for now, let's define a number of things. So for now, we need a number of things. For instance, the user answer, the variable to hold the user answer, the variable to hold the current index of the quiz, the variable to hold the options, and the variable to hold whether the quiz have ended or not, the score, and the disabled variable to help us disable a button after a user have selected an option, so that he doesn't select twice. So you also have a snippet called rconst, if I'm not mistaken, rconst. Alright, so it gives us a constructor, and at this point I'm going to just add all the states we need. So user answer, so set the initial state to null, and current index also has to be 0. For the first quiz, current index has to be 0. The options, I'm going to initialize it to an array of empty string, an empty array, and quiz end to indicate whether the quiz have ended. So when the component loads for the first time, or it mounts for the first time, the quiz end is going to be false, meaning that the quiz is just starting up, and the score is going to be 0, and this disabled is true. So basically, this disabled actually disables the next button until the user selects an option. So it means that the user cannot actually select anything, cannot click on the next button until he has selected an option. So the first thing we want to do is to load up a quiz, the first quiz from the quiz data. So we have the quiz data here. So we want to just select the first one of index 0 and load it up onto a variable called the we are just going to load it up onto 3 variables: question, options, and answer. So these are variables that will be, they are also states, but they are inside, they are specified in this function. So I'm going to say load quiz. It's going to be an arrow function equals this. All right, so Now this is an arrow function. You can also write it in a different way, in a normal way that you know, but it's better to know how to use arrow functions. They are very useful in React. I'm going to say const. I'm going to get the current state of the index. So I'm going to say current index equal to this dot state. So basically I'm selecting the current index, which for now we know that is 0. And when we are loading quiz, we are going to set the question by reading the first question from the quiz data, the options and the answer. So I'm going to just say this the set state. So the syntax goes this way. Permit me to allow load quiz to return a question, or to return a question instead of just setting the state. I want it to return a question. So I'm going to also use another arrow function. I'm going to say this dot set state. These are set state, and is going to set the state and also return whatever quiz has been read from the quiz data. So this is what we have. Okay. So I'm going to return. Okay, so at this point the load quiz is going to simply return a question. It's also going to return options, and it's also going to return answer. Okay, perfect. So the question is simply going to be quiz data. Our quiz data given the current index dot question, and the option is going to be quiz data given the current index dot options, and the last one is going to be quiz data given the current index dot answer. Okay, so now you can see that we have a problem because we don't have, let's see. Okay, so we simply need to specify a comma here. Okay, so the load quiz is going to return a single question that has come from the quiz data. Is going to read question from the quiz data. So when we have quiz data here, this quiz.js file have access to the quiz data. So that is what we have here. Okay. So why do we have this error here? So this function here is just what I explained to you. So the next function is the next question handler. The next question handler handles the click event of the next button. So when the next button is clicked, what happens? So I'm going to create this function again. I'm going to create it as an arrow function. Next question handler is equal to this, an arrow function. That's fine. And I'm going to get the I need to know the user's answer, the correct answer, and also the score, because this has to be assigned when the user clicks on the nice button answer. So we are going to compare the user answer with the actual answer, and if the user's answer is correct, then we are going to increase the score, else we don't increase the score. So these dot states. So basically we are retrieving the current values of these things. So the next line, I'm simply going to say now, regardless of what the answer is, I'm going to increase the index. So I'm going to say this the set state. I'm going to say current index, and I'm going to simply increase it by 1, increment it by 1. These are states dot current index plus 1. All right. And also I'm going to set the user answer to null. I'm going to set the user answer to null at this point as well. right? Okay, so I'm going to now check if the answer is correct. So I could actually have put this line above. I can actually put check the answer for correctness before I set it to null, because when you are setting, I'm setting it to null, I'm preparing to go to the next question. So I'm going to check if the current if the user answer is equals to the correct answer. If this is the case, I'm simply going to increase the score by 1. So normally we are not saying score is equal to score plus 1, because this is a state that has to be changed using the set state method. I'm going to now say score is increased to score plus 1. All right. Okay, so we have two functions. We've completed two functions at this point, and we need a way to say when the quiz starts up, or when this component loads for the first time, we need to call the load quiz function, and that has to be done immediately the component is mounted. The component is mounted when it's instantiated and displayed on the DOM, on the DOM here. So component did mount. That is the name of the life cycle methods that we can use to specify what happens immediately the application starts. So these are load quiz. That is simply what I'm going to do, is going to load the first question. Now there's also something we need to do. We need to check if the answer is correct. And if the answer is correct, we are going to basically, let's see. So we have the next question. When we click on the next question, we are going to check if the user answer is correct. But the user answer is only assigned not when you click on the next, but when you click on the option. So we need a function to check the answer. So this function check answer is going to execute when the user selects an option. So it's going to return an answer. It's going to be an arrow function. So basically, check answer takes an answer, and we are going to assign that answer to the user answer. So I'm going to say this. So I'm going to say this dot set state, and we are going to say assign it to the user answer. Okay, so all right. So the next thing we want to do is to enable the next button. So I'm going to say disabled is equal to false. So that means we enable the next button. So where are we? So these are all explained at this point. So we have component did update. Now, when the component updates, when something changes, for instance, when the current index changes, we have to set the question and also disable the option so that the user will not be able to select another option. So when the component updates, when the user have clicked on something, like he clicked on something, they select an option, we need to do something. We need to disable the next button. That is when the user when component did update, when component did update, okay, we are going to load another question and disable the next button. All right, so I'm going to say component did update. No, not component did catch, component did update. So in this case, we need to specify pref props and pref state. So for some reason you need to include this. So it's simply there are parameters the React is trying to use to check whether something have actually changed. So we are going to get the current index because we are actually going to use it we are going to use this current index to set the new question, because remember that current index was increased at some point. Let me see. Yeah, at this point. when you click on the nice button, the current index increases by 1, and then we are going to update the component in this place. So let's get the new current index. So using const current index equals this dot state. Alright, so there is a new current index at this point, and we are going to check if the current index changed, so that we can only set a new question when we are sure the index have changed. So if this dot state dot current index, if it's not equal to previous states, dot current index. So it's only when this is the case, means that something have changed, and at this point we are going to now do some things. So one thing we can do, we now also load a new question. So I'm going to simply copy where we loaded a new question. So I'm going to just take this. Let's take this. It should be from here. Alright, so I'm going to paste it right here. Alright, so this is what we have. I can actually put a semicolon, but it seems React actually does not worry much about this semicolon everywhere. Okay, so at this point we have made we've come a long way. So we've updated the component. Now after everything, we are going to be focusing on what actually renders on the DOM or on the HTML page, and this is very important. So here we are going to display the question and also the options to allow the user to select. So I'm going to come here to first I'm going to get all the states we need. So I'm going to say const. I need question. I need the options. I need the current index. I need the user answer. I need the quiz ends. So basically all the states we are going to say equals these dot states, because we'll need them. All right, so let me make some room here as well. I'm going to shift this. Okay, so this is where we are at the moment. So now let's talk about if the quiz have ended. I think that will, or let's see. Okay, so let's not talk about when the quiz have ended. Let's simply display the question, the option, and the options. So I'm going to start by displaying the question using a h2 tag. h2. I'm going to display the question. Okay. Now I would like to refresh so that I can see the web page to see if actually this question is displayed. So if I open this again, I can just save files, save all, and let's see. So I can actually refresh this page. Oh, sorry, so it's running at localhost port 3000. So I'm going to actually copy this. I'm going to paste it here in Chrome. So it still tells us welcome to React. So let's see. Okay, so you have this welcome to React displayed here. So for us to actually see this quiz component, we're actually going to, instead of welcome to React, we are going to actually display or mount the quiz component right here. So this is what we should do. And we also need to import it. Import quiz from quiz. Okay, so I'm going to now save. Hopefully we are going to see a question. It says attempted error, quiz data does not contain default export imported as quiz data. So let's go back to quiz data, so it exports cons quiz data. Okay, so to solve this problem, simply go back up and simply enclose this quiz data in curly braces. So because it's not, there's no default import, so I'm going to save all and let's see. So you can see it displays the first question in our quiz data. So the first question is, what is the capital of Nigeria, for the index of 0. So you can see it right here. All right, so let's proceed as we've been. Let's just continue. So I'm going to shift this. So we are still trying. So this is where we are at this point. Now we want to display question 1 of 2, question 2 of question 1 of 2, question 2 of 2, and something like that. So I'm going to use a span. So I'm going to say span, and I'm going to say question. Sorry, span. I'm going to open curly braces, close it back, shift this way. So I'm going to use something called backticks because it's very important to use. So I'm going to say question. I'm going to say $sign. I can't remember where it is. Okay, question 1. Now we are talking about the current index. Now current index plus 1 because current index is 0. So question whatever of, and the total number of questions is quiz data.line. So I'm going to open another curly braces. Yeah. So quiz data dot length GTH. I think that is the correct spelling for length. So I'm going to use a $sign here as well. All right. So if I refresh, if I save all at this point, you can see it will display the correct, you see question 1 of 5. Okay, let's just proceed. The next thing we want to display now is the options. And now this is where you actually need to pay attention carefully. Is there a way to make it simpler? Let's see. So first we are going to display the options. I'm going to say, if you want to display a list of items in React, you need to use the map function. So I'm going to say displaying the options inside here. So let's see. Okay, options dot map. Okay, now for each of the option, I'm going to say for each of the option, I'm going to make a new paragraph. So I'm going to say option. All right, and because this now is starting an arrow function, option is equal to, I want to display the display the option, which is let's say, which is option. For each of the option, we are going to display an option. So we are going to say option. We are going to run a function that says, let's see. So first, I'm going to take down this. Let's get it right first. Okay. All right. So I'm going to say, first of all, I'm going to do a paragraph, p/p. Okay. All right. So for each of the option, I'm going to display one of the option each in its own paragraph. Okay. So this paragraph will have a key, and the key is going to be option .id. That is the key. Okay, and also I'm going to assign a class. I'm going to assign a class to it. Take note that I'm going to kind of the class name equal to Now this is very, very important. We need to assign a class to it based on if it's selected or not. Let's try to do this. So the class name is going to be options. Sorry, let me just use backticks again. The class name is going to be options. Okay, that's the class name of the paragraph or the options. If you go back to styles, you can see that we have the options style. So that's the style we are going to be applying. So it's going to be options. Now we are going to apply additional style conditionally. All right, we are going to apply additional style conditionally based off if user answer is equal to the option. So if user have clicked, if user answer is equal to the option, remember when option is assigned at this point, okay, so if the option clicked is the user answer, meaning that the user selected an option, then we are going to apply a new style. So to do that check, I'm going to make some room and also make some room here because we are going to do conditional rendering. So we are going to check what the value of user answer is, and based on that we are going to then display, we are assign additional class. All right, so so this we are going to put right inside here. I'm going to put one. Okay, so we are going to do that check here. If user answer equal to option, if yes, then it means that the user have selected an item, so apply a new style selected. All right, else, which is else, because this is conditional, I'm going to just not apply any style. All right, so if the user have clicked on anything, just apply additional style to the options, and else just leave it this way, the way it is. We also need to apply on click to the options. So let me just shift this one down and apply on click. On click is equal to, I'd like to use an arrow function this time. I'm going to say this is going to be an arrow function equals, we are going to now check answer. So we are using an inline arrow function. There is a check answer, and you pass it the answer, which is the option at this time. So all this is happening. Remember, we have a map here. It's happening at this point. Okay. And yeah, so basically that is it. So let me kind of, okay, so let's just leave it the way it is. Now, remember we are talking of p/p. So what is actually going to display in the paragraph is going to be option. So I hope this is correct. I hope this makes sense to you. Yeah, so let me see. Yeah, I think everything should be fine. Option, let me see. Let me just cross check to make sure everything is okay. So I think I'll kind of check by clicking on File, Save All, just to check whether everything is fine. Okay, so you can see everything is working. So far so good. So far so good. So far so good. So let's click. So you can see it's working, conditionally applying a new style to it. For now we don't have a next button, so let's go to talk about this next button at this point. So the next button is actually going to display, let me see, so this comes, we have this span, we have these options, closes here, that is fine. Let's see, leave. Okay, so this div tag is for return this. Okay, so just make sure I'm not mixing up anything. So we have the h2 tag here. So this div tag is a parent div tag, so we actually not gonna tamper with it. All right. So now what we are going to do at this point, we are going to also display a button conditionally. All right, so we are going to display a button conditionally, and button is going to display only when the current index is not the last index, meaning that once there are still questions to answer, we are going to display the next button. So I'm going to display the next button if, so conditional on if current index is less than quiz data dot length. Okay, so if quiz data dot -1, because it's a zero-based array, if this is the case, we are going to display, I'm going to use this conditional rendering as well. We are going to display, if this is the case, we are going to display the next button. So I'm going to just say button / button. All right, so if this is the case, we are going to display the next button. All right, so I'm going to shift this downwards. I'm actually going to move this down as well. All right, so this button inside, we are going to just say next question. Now if I save everything, that next button actually should appear at this point. So you can see the next button appears right here. But now when we click, nothing happens. So we are going to actually do the next handler, because we wrote a function called next question handler. So we're going to run the next handler when this button is clicked. All right, but for now, let me just let me not worry about applying any style. Disabled equal to this disabled should be equal to this dot state dot disabled. So it's going to be false. Initially is not disabled, is only disabled after the user have selected an option and this check answer is executed. When the check answer is executed, is going to disable the next button. Is going to enable the next button by setting the disabled to false. All right, so we have the states have been assigned, and we need an on-click event for this next button. And the on-click event is simply going to be the next question handler. So on-click is equal to this dot next question handler. Okay, this is the on-click event. All right. Okay, so remember we have the button displays. Let's see. Okay, so this is where we are. So when the current index is less than quiz at length -1, display the next button. However, if this does not hold true, meaning that the current index has gotten to the last one, we simply need to display the finish because there's no more questions. So we're going to simply conditionally display another button. This time is going to be the finish button, and that is when current index has gotten to quiz data.length. All right, so once this is the case, of course it's zero-based index, so it's -1. We are going to display the finish button, so I'm going to put double ampersand. Actually it's going to be double ampersand is going to be inside this, so we are still evaluating an expression. All right, so I'm going to shift this. Sorry, so let me just make it clear for you. So if this is the case, we are going to display a new button, and that is going to be the finish button. All right, the finish button. So I'm going to shift it down as well, and this finish button is going to have on click event. Let me just add an on click event to it. On click is equal to, of course it's going to be finish handlers. I think did I talk about the finish handler? Oh no, that is a mistake. Okay, that is a mistake. So I'm going to fix this. Fix it. So let's go back to our web page. I don't know. I think I have finish handler. Yeah, finish handler. So Let me just copy it and paste so that we just save our time. So basically, it sets the quiz end to true if the current index has gotten to the last one. So let me just paste it. All right, so there is a finish handler function. So it's just a simple function as well. All right, so when we click on the finish button, so on click is equal to is going to be the finish handler, right? So it's going to be this dot state, this dot finish handler. All right, so this is it. So this is fine. This dot finish handler. So why is this happening? A button, this on click is equal to this dot finish handler. See this. Okay, so so this is button slash button. Okay, so okay, I think I know where the problem is coming from. So we actually, I think I have made a mistake. So this is going to be this way. All right, so this is the finish handler. And let's see. We also need to set the state to disabled is going to be true. It's going to also be the same with the nice button. So disabled equals this is equal to this dot state dot disabled. All right, that is fine. And inside, I'm going to say finish. So at this point, we are at the last question, so we are going to just finish. So let me just clean up the code a bit. Oh, sorry, edit, undo. So let me clean up the code a bit by doing this. All right, so I think everything should be fine. So now, if I go to save everything, and if I go back to our quiz page, we can have, we can see the quiz running. Select, next, select, next. Now it displays finish, but nothing happens. Okay, select and finish. We can see nothing happens as well. So now the finish handler is going to, let's now solve this, display the finish handler. In this case, that is if quiz end is equal to true, we are going to display the finish handler. So I've copied the code to my clipboard for the finish handler. So I'm going to paste it here. So if quiz end is equal to true, simply return all this. Simply get me over final score is display the final score and just display all the correct answers using the map function. So I'm going to save everything. And let's run it just to see how it goes. Actually, I would like to add, in the options, I would like to add border radius. I used to like border radius. It makes the UI look very good. So let me add 7px, px, and I also would like, instead of this border color of black, I'd like it to be something else, maybe something like this. All right. So I'm going to save everything, file, save all. And I'm going to go back here. All right. So at this point, we can see that everything is displayed correctly. So let me, capital of Nigeria is Abuja, capital of India, New Delhi, capital of Australia, let's just be answering. So go. Okay. So you can see we scored 3 points. Okay. So this is how we completed this quiz. I'd like you to take time to review the code. Now I can actually help you. If you have any challenges, please let me know in the comment box below. And I would like to stop here, and please subscribe to my channel, like and share this video around if it has been informative for you. I remain Kind the Tech Pro, and I'm always there for you.